Welcome, dear traveler. I invite you to take a moment to slow down. Feel your feet on the floor, your body in the chair. Let your breath guide you back into that body. Inhale. Exhale gently. Let's do another one. Let's do a third. Wherever you are arriving here today from, you're welcome here. This lesson is not a lecture, it is a remembering. It's a mirror for your soul's unfolding. The map you're about to explore lives inside of you right now. It's been whispering through your experiences, through the cycles you revisit, through the questions you can't ignore. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the source of this lesson. With deep gratitude, I honor the late Bob Proctor, whose original articulation of the 7 levels of awareness sparked a whole movement in consciousness and self-leadership. His work laid the foundation for this teaching and opened the doorway for countless souls to rise above limitation and step into personal responsibility. In the Traveler's Conversation, we have expanded and recontextualized these levels to include human design, contemplative practices, and embodiment. And we recognize and give thanks to Bob Proctor as the original messenger of this framework. May his legacy continue to ignite awareness and transformation around the world. Let's begin not by doing, but with noticing. Take a breath, and I invite you to have something nearby to capture reflections, a journal, a page, or voice recorder. And I invite you to hold this question as we begin. What brought me here today? I invite you to capture what comes up for you without judgment, without analyzation, without just capture it. And perhaps here's another question. What am I ready to see differently today? Awareness is the lens through which you experience reality. It's like a pair of glasses, smudged, cracked, or crystal clear. Your level of awareness shapes how you see, feel, and act. For me, I keep a box of lens cleaner because I smudge my glasses a lot. And as I'm doing things, creating, stepping into, I cannot see the outcome clearly. So I clean them off, maybe 4 or 5 times a day. In the Traveler's Conversation, we explore awareness as both a practice and a portal. It's not something you earn or achieve, it's something you return to. Human design gives us the blueprint, your energetic map. Awareness gives you the key to walk that path. When you combine the two, you begin to shift from reaction to embodiment, from conditioning to alignment. As we go through these levels, each level will include an essence of that level, a core lens of that level, the theme of that level, behaviors that may be associated with that level, and a typical dialogue. And then, of course, breakthrough insight, something that moves us from one level to the other. You'll have a human design link and reflective pauses. Let's begin with level 1. Level 1 is survival awareness. It is fight or flight. It is animal. The essence is I react to survive. This is the oldest level of awareness. And the lens we look through is life is a threat. I must stay alive. And fear tends to be there. Scarcity, helplessness. It keys us, triggers us into fight, flight, or freeze, because that now becomes our strategy to survive. The inner voice may be saying, I have no choice, or why is this happening to me? The breakthrough insight that safety is internal. I am allowed to pause. In human design, survival awareness is often intensified by the deep identification with undefined centers, especially our root and spleen. Instead of following strategy and authority, reactions rule. So here's a reflection. Where is it in my life do I feel I have no choice? Just capture it, don't evaluate it. And the second reflection is, what might internal safety feel like to me? Let's move to the next level. Conformity awareness. In essence, it is I follow to belong. The lens is, if I fit in, I'll be safe. This is all about approval seeking, self doubt, peer pressure. You begin to lose yourself in others. That little inner voice that may be speaking to you is, oh, what will they think? Or I just do what I'm told. The breakthrough insight: belonging does not require betraying of self. Let me say that again. Belonging does not require betraying yourself. The human design connection, this is the not self mind, and it dominates here, especially when you're trying to make decisions from the head instead of honoring that inner truth, that strategy and authority. Here's the reflections. Whose approval am I still chasing? And what part of me am I hiding? So last night, I went to a friend of mine's event facilitating a rage ritual. And this was one of the questions. And it was really about, what am I ready to look at? And I went not thinking I needed to rage, but there was a lot of questions that led up to this. And it was one of those transformational events I've attended in a while. See, I was not about worrying about if I'm screaming and yelling and beating on a pillow or whatever we did throughout the night, what anybody else in that group would think of me. I wasn't hiding who I am. As we move to the next level, this is level 3. This is seeking awareness. In the essence, I question to awaken. You're looking for answers to the questions you may have. The lens, there must be more than this. This is where soul sometimes kicks in, you feel, is that there's got to be more than this. And what you may find is restlessness, curiosity, longing for truth. The inner voice is, there has to be another way. The breakthrough insight is that, one, the search is sacred and it must turn inward. The human design link, well, this is where you begin your experiment. Strategy and authority really whisper to you and urge you to honor them. You start to ask, what's my way? The reflection for this is, where am I still searching outwards for an answer? And what would it mean to trust my inner compass? Level 4, self-awareness. The essence is, I remember who I am. And the lens is, I am an observer to the world. And there's responsibility here. It starts to come up. There's boundaries to set, and there's identity. The inner voice is, I choose differently now. One of my favorite phrases with travelers, and they'll know, is up until now. When they tell me what's going on and the choices they've made and what isn't working, I say, great, up until now. Because now we get to choose differently. The breakthrough insight is, my design is not a flaw. It is my blueprint. The human design link is this is where embodiment deepens. You start to live your type and you understand your mechanics. The reflection, what behaviors no longer fit who I am becoming? And what truth am I ready to reclaim? Level 5, devoted awareness. The essence is I surrender to truth. And the lens is I know I serve something greater. The trust, simplicity, and discipline as devotion. The inner voice is my life is my practice. And many people think they have to practice mindfulness or practice meditation or practice yoga. This is where your life becomes your practice. Everything else is just a tool. And the insight here is devotion anchors power. Simplicity holds strength. This doesn't have to be complicated. The human design link, you move with your body's intelligence, your body's knowing. The mind no longer drives. The reflections for this level, what am I devoted to? And where am I resisting surrender? Now, I want to pause here and clarify something very important. Devotion is not the same as discipline. Discipline often comes from the mind, a sense of force, control, willpower, or external expectation. Devotion rises from the heart. It's not about forcing yourself to show up. It's about choosing to return again and again to what's true. Devotion is a sacred consistency. It's not rigid, but it's reverent. In devotion, the practice becomes a form of love and a way of saying, I trust life enough to keep showing up. Level 6, integrated awareness. And the essence of integrated awareness is I welcome all of me. Many of us spend time looking at what we're not or what we're bad at or what, and we want to get rid of, and that's a whole different conversation. But the integrated awareness, we observe and then we welcome everything that is us, everything. The lens is all parts belong. I had a conversation last night and it was all about our past and who would we be if our past was different, would be somebody. And no, I know I've had to go through everything. I've had to be these people that I wasn't effective with, that I've hurt people, that I've damaged others. But it's allowed me now to come into this integrated awareness and welcome all of me and say, you belong here too. We feel wholeness, coherence, forgiveness. The inner voice is everything served, and I've made peace with it all. The insight that comes, the breakthrough is integration is the key. Nothing needs to be rejected. And I've spoken a little bit in some of my teachings about where I see people in plant medicine is they do great work. They go to these events, they have breakthroughs, but yet what they fail to do is integrate those into their lives to move forward. And then they come back to the next ceremony, the next ritual, and they're working on the same thing because they didn't take what they've learned. At this level of awareness, integration is the key. Nothing needs to be rejected. The human design link, inner and outer authority align. What shows up is a variable awareness. You can look at things differently. You can experience things differently. The reflection for you is what part of me is ready to return? And how does my life reflect that inner coherence? Level 7, embodied awareness. The essence of this is I am aligned presence. And the lens is I am life expressing itself. There's a sense of sovereignty. There's a sense of presence. There's ease. There's less resistance. The inner voice you may hear is, this is who I am. There is no separation. The breakthrough insight, when I am fully present, I am free. Human design, you live your design without trying. You don't have to worry about strategy and authority. It just is. It becomes an intuitive presence for you. Reflection. What does embodied presence feel like for me? And how can I lead through being? Before we wrap this up, I want to move to what I call the field of crossing. You see, between seeking and self awareness lies a sacred threshold. It's called the field of crossing. It's not a stage, it's a passage. It's a portal where longing turns into responsibility. It is where the experiment truly begins. Most travelers find themselves here between insight and integration as we start to step into these different levels. You'll always find a field of crossing. Reminder, this is not about becoming somebody new. This is about remembering someone ancient. In the links, I'll put some link to a complete video on the field of crossing. And I know now there's some of you that may be going analytic with this and asking, well, where do most people live on this map? Am I ahead or I am behind? How rare is it to be in self-awareness or beyond? These are all natural questions. There's nothing wrong with trying to seek information, seek understanding. So let me offer a frame of reference, not as a judgment, but as a perspective. Through the years of fieldwork, mine leadership and just years, through deep contemplation and a synthesis from multiple systems like human design, Hawkins scale, spiral dynamics, psychological research, I've seen a working estimate, and it's just an estimate. Let's start with survival. 40 to 50% of the population is in this survival awareness. They're operating from fear, reactivity, and scarcity. Just look around the world. 25 to 30% of people operate in this conformity awareness, seeking approval, outsourcing truth, following inherited patterns. Again, look at the world. Where are people trying to fit into one group or the other? And we go to, in conformity awareness, we go to this right and wrong standpoint. 25 to 30% of the world. And then there's those that are in seeking awareness. There's those that are in the seeking stage. That's 10 to 15%. They're stirred by curiosity, asking deeper questions. Maybe instead of why did this happen, but what caused this to happen? This is where you start to step into your path of discovery. Now, self-awareness is about 5 to 8%. This is where you're choosing responsibility, awakening to your design. Devoted awareness, 2 to 4%. Living in alignment, trusting something greater than you. Integrated awareness, 0.5 to 1%. We're welcoming all parts, embodying coherence. In true embodied awareness, less than 1%, 0.1. These people you can feel, they radiate presence. They're leading by being. Let me make this clear. These are not ranks or levels to achieve. They're states of being, and we all move between them. You might live from devoted awareness at work and drop into survival when you're dealing with money or health. Awareness is situational, rhythmic, and relational. So instead of asking, where do I rank? Ask, where am I being invited to see more clearly? This work isn't about becoming better than others. It's about becoming more whole within yourself. So now I invite you to gently ask, where on the levels do I most recognize myself living today? You may dance between levels. We talked about that. You may move back and forth with life seasons. This is not a regression, it is a rhythm. And we're made for a rhythm. What matters is awareness. And from that awareness comes your next choice. If you're called to go deeper, join us in the Traveler's Experience Inner Circle. This journey continues layer by layer, truth by truth. You'll find the details in the link below in this video or in your inbox. I invite you to look into you're not lost. You're on a path of remembering. I invite you to let awareness be your compass. Let your design be your map. Let your presence be the guide for others.